Is April 3rd. We have one public hearing, a site plan review, and we're going to start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Jerry, could you lead us to the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you want to take the roll,
Yep,
Denise?
unmute me.
Unmute you.
There we go. Patrick Halpin.
Present.
Frank Santos is absent. Julianne Nolan. Jerry O'Neill. Dan Truchin.
Present.
Ed Wynn.
Present.
Juan Leon.
Present.
Rich Grow.
Present.
Rich Casey. Greg Gaxiola. Matt Esposito.
What about James?
Oh, I'm sorry. James Picaro.
James, okay.
Jumped right over you.
He's right there. All right.
I know he's here.
Before we start the public hearing, I want to read this statement into the record. The planning board shall have the right to rely on any information that is presented by the applicant. If any such information is later found to be inaccurate or incorrect, the planning board may determine that any approvals, building permits, or other actions previously granted in connection with the application are null and void. Who's here on behalf of the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Anthony Guardino, law firm of Farrell Fritz, for the applicant Aero Engine LLC and its tenant Rockwell Industries International.
Have you had the opportunity to review the memo from the Planning Commissioner dated March 28th, 2023 with your client?
I did, yes.
Are there any issues, any concerns, anything that you'd like to bring to our attention regarding the conditions, the covenants, and any restrictions?
Nothing with respect to the conditions and covenants.
Okay.
My clients find them to be acceptable.
Good.
Great.
Okay, please proceed.
Yes, so the applicant is seeking site plan approval in order to expand Rockwell's existing manufacturing and warehouse building by adding slightly less than 11,000 square feet, 10,903 square feet of warehouse space. Rockwell Industries International is a manufacturer and distributor of aerospace metals. I have with me tonight to assist in the presentation Alex Holloman from Bowler Engineering to my left, Laura Coletti also to my left from Impact Architecture, and Gabrielle Valls, who is the project manager on this project. The principal, Tom Malone, who is principal of both Aero Engine and Rockwell, had planned to be here tonight, but he had an unexpected medical procedure and he was not able to make it, obviously. The property is a little bit more than 2 acres in size. It is located at 6,000 New Horizons Boulevard. It is improved currently with a 1- and 2-story manufacturing and warehouse building and some ancillary office space, totaling about 21,500 square feet. Rockwell is seeking to expand that space in order to accommodate its growing business. The property is zoned Planned Industrial District 1, which allows both the manufacturing and warehouse uses as of right, and the property is a through lot, just so that you see that there's 150 feet of frontage on New Horizons Boulevard. There's also 100 feet of frontage on Copeg Road, although there will not be any opening to Copeg Road. The lot just extends through. The parcel is located in the New Horizons Business Center and is, as you would expect, surrounded primarily with industrial uses. However, there are residential uses to the east across Copeg Road that are located in the C residential district. These homes are located about 200 feet from the proposed building addition and also on the opposite side of not only Copeg Road, but of a dense vegetative buffer that will not be disturbed with this application. The application, as I mentioned, seeks site plan approval from the planning board so that Rockwell can add this space because it is a great success story. They're doing very well, and the building, quite frankly, no longer works for Rockwell in its present configuration. It either needs to expand the building or it needs to leave. So, that's, I guess it's a good problem to have. The building has been designed to complement the other buildings in the area. It will be a vast improvement, in my opinion, over many of the older industrial buildings that exist in the business center today. I took a ride over there earlier. to take a look. The expanded warehouse will add one overhead door and 3 flush loading docks on the northern elevation, and then 1 additional overhead door on the eastern elevation. The addition will be located next to a parking lot and 2 decaying sports courts that are located on the adjacent property, as you can see in the photograph there. And that piece of property is like an outcrop or an appendage of the lot to the south. To the south. And it is unlikely to ever be developed, so that is going to be like a permanent a buffer there. The building will be set back about 95 feet from Copeg Road, and as I mentioned, will be screened from view and noise by about a 70-foot dense vegetative buffer, which will be the neighbor's property that will not be developed. The 50-foot right-of-way of Copeg Road will serve as an additional buffer, plus you have the yards of the homes that are there. All totaled, from building to building, it'll be about 200 feet is what I measured, slightly less. Again, as I mentioned, there will be no access to and from Copeg Road. The proposed expansion is going to require 73 parking spaces. We are providing 47, so there will be parking relief required from the zoning board. There will also be dimensional variances that are needed for minimum yard setback, maximum building and parking coverage, minimum landscaping coverage, and minimum landscape buffer on the rear and south sides. I will point out, and I know that's not really the purview of this board, but just for purpose of information, several of these variances are actually created by the irregular property line. If their property went all the way to Copeg Road, we wouldn't be asking for these variances. Quite frankly, might even be able to park enough additional cars and not ask for that either. But it's that cut into the lot that is creating some of the variances. We will be prepared at the appropriate time when we get before the zoning board to obviously make out the proofs that are needed. So I can turn it over to Alex Holloman. Now he can go through the site plan very briefly, if you wouldn't mind. Alex, you want to take it away? Thank you.
Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Alex Holloman, 275 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 100, Melville, New York, 11747.
And you're the engineer or architect for this project?
The engineer.
Engineer, okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Alex Holloman, civil engineer from Bowling Engineering, here to speak on behalf of the applicant. Our subject project proposes an expansion and site layout refurbishment of an existing office warehouse building at 6000 New Horizons Boulevard. The project proposes 0.87 acres of disturbance to provide a new 10,903 square foot attached warehouse building, 3 new loading bays, refurbishment of existing ADA access at the front of the site, new pavement and striping, and other subsequent site layout improvements, inclusive of on-site stormwater dry wells, landscaping, and lighting. The existing full access curb cut along New Horizons Boulevard will be utilized with no proposed modifications. The proposed site improvements will impact existing parking and an existing rear grass plot to the east of the existing building. The proposed development requests zoning relief as detailed in the site layout plan sheet C301 of the filed documents. More specifically, rear setback relief is requested. However, the area of request is against an irregular shape in the lot where the affected area is part of the lot to the south, and it is an existing undeveloped vegetated area, as Mr. Gordino illuminated. A 30-foot vegetated buffer is still maintained along the property that is directly adjacent to Copeg Road. The application's proposed plantings are concentrated along the eastern portion of the property to further enhance the existing buffer to Copeg Road, which contains vegetation, including mature trees, and an existing fence. Lastly, the applicant wishes to note that the eastern side of the proposed building expansion is approximately 200 feet from the existing residential houses to the east, crossing over vegetated buffers, a fence, and Copeg Road, as Mr. Gordino also illuminated. And that concludes my remarks.
Do any of the board members have any questions? Dan?
Hi. So my first question is, are there still those 3 containers on site that were on the back southeast corner of the property?
I'm sorry, one more time?
The 3 containers that are on site?
Containers still there.
containers.
Yeah. Gab, you want to respond to those? You want to?
Okay, hold on.
You want
hold-
to stand up?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
You have to come up here and introduce yourself.
Yeah, you've got to come up so we can swear you in. And please state your name and address for the record.
Gabriel Valls, 33 Meritoria Drive, East Williston, New York.
Could you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, please.
Not that I'm aware of. So those 3 containers, they were part of the, it was a violation, correct? When we applied for the permit? They were removed, yes.
We're looking at that picture. Is that what you're looking at? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, so this, in this picture, if you don't mind me also, this is prior to them purchasing this property. But yes, that was all removed.
Okay. And then, so the warehouse is being expanded. What currently stays in the current warehouse that's there, and why do you need expansion?
You want to respond then?
Yeah, so the current business operates, it's an aerospace business. They essentially are a distributor for aerospace metals, and the business has been greatly expanding from what we're told, so he's looking for more room for warehouse space.
Okay. And it says it's only expanding 1 story. What's the height of that, or is it going to be, what's the height of the building for storage purposes?
Yeah, 35 feet.
Okay. And then how many, what type of vehicle comes to pick up, since they're distributing aerospace metals, what type of vehicle comes to pick them up, and how often do they come to pick them up?
So it's a combination of tractor trailers and much smaller, just 10, box
Okay,
trucks.
hold on. We have guests here that are trying to watch. Thank you. So if you don't mind sitting, counsel, that would be good. All right, I see them waving back there. Can they move? Well, can somebody get their attention? Okay, one at a time at the podium. Go ahead, please proceed.
It's a combination of tractor trailers and box trucks. And we also did a traffic study, which was part of the, so that could tell you exactly what came and went during a period of time.
Okay, and then how many number of employees are currently there, and will that be expanding?
I will have to get that for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions? Barry?
Just a curious question. You have on that little dog leg or appendage that you referred to, the neighbor's property, you have something that you list here as a possible encroachment on that northwest corner of that appendage or dog leg. What's that all about?
You want to take that? You want to field that? Yes.
So a recent field survey was run, and you can see the property line as it's shown. So existing improvements, probably from the previous tenant when the parking lot was put in, encroaches into the southern portion or the adjacent property. As we've mentioned, that area is not utilized by the tenant, so there was never anything brought up. It was something that was discovered when the survey went out. We are being good neighbors, removing the encroachment, and remodifying that back area.
So you're not going to occupy it, you're just returning it to the grass?
Correct.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay. Did you want to speak? Okay. I mean, we're more than happy you came all this way. Julianne?
And please state the hours of operation.
Again, from my understanding, the hours of operation are approximately 6 in the morning till probably 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
Which days?
Monday through Friday.
Thank you.
You have a question, what?
I would just add, I stopped over on the way here, and the gates were all locked. So I got there about 5:45, and all the gates, I couldn't get in, so.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are there any environmental concerns with the expansion of this, figuring you work with aerospace metals?
You want to, yeah. My understanding is that they don't, the processing of the metals, they're really a distributor. So the way it was explained to me is that they just really cut, there's a lot of processes that go into making parts for aircraft, and this is just the beginning. So the way it was explained to me is that this facility will take the metal, cut the metal, and it gets shipped to someone else who then presumably will temper the metal. And so it's not, they're not really making the metal. I mean, it's not like they're forging the metal there, or, you know, they're just taking bars, cutting them into whatever the part is going to look like, and then they ship it out to the next person that's in the manufacturing chain to do what they do to the metal before it finds its way to a airplane.
Dan?
Do they utilize forklifts to move any supplies within the warehouse?
Yes, there are forklifts.
How many?
Again, I'm going to guess, but about 3 approximately.
And what type of fuel do they use, or are they electric?
Propane.
And are they stored in the building or exterior?
The propane is all stored exterior.
Okay.
Any other questions? Counsel, you're asking for parking relief?
Yes, we're going to need
How
parking.
many employees, or how are you going to accommodate the parking for the employees that you have?
Do you want to? Because you're more familiar with the.
All right.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, and from my understanding too, from the size, even after expansion, the 47 spots that they're looking for is not the amount of employees that they have. And currently, I mean, we can get you the numbers, of course, but currently they'd have nowhere near that number of employees.
Okay, all right. Yeah, if you could provide that as additional follow-up, that would be good. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board regarding this application? Okay, ma'am? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Irene Kleiner, 1288 Jackson Avenue, Lindenhurst, New York, 11757.
Okay, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed. Go ahead. Matt is going to give you a card. You got a card. Okay, so you have to have that. You have that, Denise? Okay,
Good evening.
thank you.
My first question is, the picture that's showing, is that facing New Horizons Boulevard, or is that facing the other building, that frontage right there?
Facing the other building.
That's facing
Well,
north.
let's let the,
No,
Do you wanna
let
wait till she
the, I'm sorry. No, you can answer that question.
So that's facing north. New Horizons Boulevard is to the right,
New Horizons Boulevard is to the right, and Copeg Road is in...
to the left.
To the left.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So good evening again. I'm a Lindenhurst resident, town of Babylon, for over 40 years. I've been in my home longer than the existence of most of these buildings. My concern with this new addition of 10,000 square feet, which again, on their website, currently boasts an additional 12,000 feet, it doesn't state 10,000 feet, is number one, the height of the building, 2, additional noise from the construction and continued use, 3, exhaust from the building and trucks, and 4, security issues that will be coming from this addition. Currently, I have parking lot lights shining directly into my kitchen. The only thing that saves my bedroom windows at night is they are now casement windows and are up high. And I have a picture of that also here. I do understand that security is needed, but no one ever checked the effect of the residents on the other side of the fence. This is stadium lighting. This is not a street light, it's stadium lighting. Another problem that occurs is the cutting of the fence. I know he says there's a fence. It's a chain link fence on Copeg Road that is used for trespassing onto these properties. The town has been notified of some of these issues and addressed on the building side, but not on the Copeg Road residential side. The main thing here is the quality of life that gets affected by the residents on Copeg Road, by the smells that come from these buildings, from their exhaust, the noise of trucks loading and unloading, sometimes at very early hours. Also the workers. You know, the workers are out there, and you hear a lot of stuff when the workers are out there, believe me. And the continued unsightly mess that you see through Copeg Road. This gentleman is talking like there's all these major trees. Believe me, it's not that dense. You can go and see for yourself. And I feel as a longtime resident and taxpayer, depending on the outcome of this hearing, I would request that they look into putting some sort of pine trees or something along Copeg Road. The town has used this to cover not so recently constructed, but there's an electrical substation on Berry and Wellwood that is completely covered with trees. You don't even know it's there. There is also another building on Copeg Road further down that has these large pine trees that are planted on Copeg Road. So I would appreciate hearing the response to some of these issues, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll ask the council to speak after the others so we can address everybody's questions. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Patricia, excuse me, Patricia Connolly, 5 Sherbrooke Road, Lindenhurst, New York,
Do you swear to tell the truth,
11757.
the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please proceed.
Like my neighbor, Irene Connolly, sorry, Irene Kleiner, sorry. This whole prospective outgrowth here is 200 yards from my home. I'm a taxpayer. I have been since 2000, raised my 2 children here. I now have a daughter that lives about 5 blocks away from here as well. I'm expressing concern over, again, something that I noticed as well. On this town hall hearing, it says 10,000 square feet of a structure. On Rockwell Industries' website, it says 12,000. That might not seem like a lot, but to somebody who lives within 200 feet of this, it's an awful lot. And as far as noise, I hear noise now at 6 o'clock in the morning. Trucks unloading, honking horns, beeping, that doesn't seem to subside Mondays through Fridays. I've lived with the noise. I've lived with the trucks loading and unloading. I'm not a fool. This whole big area was there when I first bought my home. But I have to be honest and say that it's getting worse. The litter along Copeg Road is worse than it's ever been. The holes in the fence, of which my neighbor just pointed out, it is just a chain link fence, ladies and gentlemen. We're not talking a big fence. And dense vegetation, there is none. There's sparse trees that you can see right through. And I also have lights that shine directly in my kitchen and that are disturbing to my family's dinner time sometimes. The other thing that's really gotten worse recently is the smells. There's lots of different buildings in this corporate park. One seems to make horseradish and pickles, which now the smell is so awful sometimes, you cannot even walk along Copeg Road. Another vitamin factory that's all the way at the end by Berry Street and Copeg Road. Sometimes when I'm walking or riding my bicycle in the afternoon, I have to turn around because the smell is so bad. I would ask this planning board to invest in maybe some air quality tests, because the things that we're smelling can't be good for us or our children or our grandchildren. This ever-growing corporate park just seems to bring more noise, more dirt, more litter, and now more smells. I say have some consideration for the residents on the other side of that chain link fence and with that dense vegetation that doesn't exist. We need more concern from the town of Babylon to protect my property values, protect the noise, protect our air quality control, and maybe some concern for the average taxpayer's property values. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board?
I just wanted to.
Oh, you want to submit that? Give that to Matt, please. And this picture
This is from my kitchen window.
From your
Okay.
kitchen window, okay.
They were on when I left. Yeah, it is. It's that property. It's the stadium lights. Yes, it is. I'm diagonal.
You live there, I believe.
Yeah.
You knew
Yeah,
better than
if
I
we
did.
could just
wanted to make
give
sure
that to
we were accurate
Denise
and not
after we're finished, and
saying
just put the
something that
address on that for the home, okay. So, do any of the board members have any questions? Counsel?
Sure. I'll try
Counsel,
to-
you heard the concerns.
Yes.
The fence needs to be repaired.
Okay.
The
I think
buffer,
that's-
let's take a look. Can we look at this from the
I was
perspective
going
of
to say, can we do it?
of Copeg Road? Yeah,
that would be great.
That would be very helpful. That is very helpful. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like that now, I gotta be honest with you.
Well, it is springtime. We've just gone through winter.
know.
I get it. It looks like it was in the fall.
I will say that I was just there, as I mentioned, before I came here,
Yeah.
and I was on the property to the south because I couldn't get into this property because the gates were closed, but I could get to where the sports courts were, and it's pretty dense.
Okay.
and the leaves aren't even on the trees yet. So, you know, and that fence, I would just point out, I mean, obviously, if it needs to be repaired, it'll be repaired if it's our fence. I'm not sure it's our fence, it might be in the right-of-way for all I know. I don't know that.
Okay,
Do you
hold
know,
on,
Gab?
one at a time.
It's not that actually, the owner would actually love to repair the fence, but he was always under the impression it's not his. So, because there was a time when people would come through the lot, he's mentioned
Right.
this to me, from that side, and he wanted to stop that, you know, of course, but just that. So I know he would be open to doing whatever would
Well,
need
who
to be
owns,
done to the
it's got to be
fence.
somebody's fence.
We'll figure it out.
Matt.
We'll find out. I mean,
All
if
right.
we can do it, we'll,
But you're prepared to repair, perhaps
Yes.
replace that
Yes.
fence to strengthen the security? I would think you'd be concerned about people
Absolutely.
cutting through the fence into the industrial, into your area.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, the construction hours were mentioned and the timing of construction. You know, the project manager just mentioned to me it would probably be 6 months to construct. You know, construction hours are going to comply with the town code. I mean, they're going to have to, you know, the hours of construction are regulated. You know, the noise from the trucks, you know, I noticed that in the covenants or conditions that the
item
planning
9.
staff has, you know, recommended no idling of trucks. I mean, it's a business, it's an industrial park. I mean, I can't say that the trucks aren't going to make noise. I mean, these are, you know, these are businesses going concerns. You know, they use trucks. So, you know, there may be trucks, but there won't be unnecessary noise from just trucks idling because they won't be able to. You know, security was mentioned about the fencing. We'll take care of that to the extent that we can. Lighting was a concern. You know, all the lighting in the proposed covenants and conditions has to be dark sky compliant, so there will not be stadium lighting. They won't be able to, it'll have to be down lighting.
Matt, can you explain that, the dark skies lighting versus what may be there now? Okay. This is Matt Esposito, the lead planner.
So this is the photometric plan, which shows the lighting and shows the spillover from the lights. As per the covenants, it'll have to be dark sky compliant lighting with proper shields so that there's no spillover of lighting from the property.
And Matt, explain, we have all these numbers on here. I presume that's the amount of light that is spilling
Yes, those
into that
represent
area?
foot candle measurements. So that's the proposed spillover of lighting. So dark sky compliant is for zero spillover of light onto residential properties. It's represented on this plan.
So we would have to,
All right, so the lighting is going to be completely
Compliant.
changed?
yes,
Okay.
okay. Okay, so,
It's, okay, hold on, one at a time. We have to take careful notes of everything everybody says, so we have to do this one at a time.
This
But
is-
council, could you address the dark skies versus what may be there now? What's
yeah,
there
so
now?
that the application will have to comply
Yes.
with the dark sky regulations of the town, and that is our lighting plan, and we will have to ensure that the lighting that's placed on the property, you know, meets, you know, or achieves that level or you know, of spillover, which should be nothing.
Zero,
Should be zero when it gets to the residential property lines.
And can you just confirm that these are proposed or existing lighting represented on the plan?
Alex?
So the lighting plan that you're reviewing now with the symbols, those are all proposed lights. Existing lights are to be demoed in this area.
Okay, Dan?
Is all lighting on the site going to be demoed, or is it just on this new expansion area?
There are existing lights, I believe, along the building in the front. There is no plans to demo all lights,
Just on the back area that would...
just in the impacted area.
Okay.
Will that lighting be changed that abuts the neighbors? Because that's the concern.
So the project area where the new lights are going in are focused in on the east side, which abuts the Copeg Road neighborhoods. So to answer your question, yes.
And there was a mention about the pine trees.
Yes.
My client is willing to supplement the buffer. I was there today, like I said, it was pretty dense. It's only going to get better as the summer, as the leaves start to.
But you said he'll supplement.
But I'll supplement, yeah, well, my client will supplement, we'll figure out, where, we can strategically place them to, if there are any holes that you can see, so we would do that. I do want to confirm that the square footage, I don't know what's on the website, I'm sure it was probably when they were thinking about what they wanted to do for their expansion plan, but it is 10,903 square feet is what's being proposed. And then, I guess, I think what I heard today is some general complaints about the business center. My client is not making pickles or horseradish or, vitamins, or, what they do does not create odors. So I can't comment on that, but, there will not be any odors emanating from this use.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So one, just to be clear, so everyone in the room knows, whatever is on this proposal, which is the 10,903 square feet, is what you're going to be accounted for and only approved for, because anything beyond that would be inspected and would fail inspection, not be able to go forward.
That's right, with an as-built, yes.
Two, the HVAC system, is that going to be enclosed? Is it going to be rooftop units, or is it going to be something within the?
Maybe rephrase, if you don't mind. What do you mean by enclosed? So they are rooftop units, RTUs.
Are there going to be some type of surrounding that creates a noise barrier so that it's maintained within the space? Metal surrounding?
Do you mean like a barrier on the roof for any type of noise?
Specifically around the HVAC?
Yeah, that's not a problem. We can design that into the plans for sure.
It's a
Yes.
requirement of the.
It is a requirement of the conditions, item number 9.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And also, you guys said you purchased the property relatively recently. When was that?
So this owner actually purchased the property in, I want to say approximately, my memory serves me, 2019.
Okay.
So the pictures that you're looking at from Google Earth actually do not represent what the property looks like today. When he purchased the property, maybe it's worth making a note. He's actually at least I think, a very good steward of the park. He's put over 7 figures into this building already after buying it. Redid all the landscaping. The building looks very different. It's very tidy compared to what you see here. This is how it was purchased. So I think he just kind of wants to continue that. If you drive down this street, this building sort of sticks out as being very well manicured. The grass is always maintained. He's changed the signs. All the landscaping's different. And like I said, he's put in over $1 million into it.
Okay, one more question. Your plans show a planting of arborvitaes. You were talking about pine trees that you were willing to do, but is it correct that on the east side facing Copeg Road, there's a proposed line of arborvitaes that would additionally shield the building from the neighbors?
Yes, I'm just checking my reference here. You are correct. There is there's a series of lines of arborvitaes. When those are proposed, they're intended to provide good noise and visual shrouding, as they don't have leaf litter, they're evergreen, and they're conical in shape. A pine tree usually there's no leaves near the base, so they provide.
Do you know what size you're going to put in the beginning?
They are proposed at 5 to 6 feet in height.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes.
No? Okay.
Could I say one more thing?
Okay, one more question.
Okay, excuse me. Mike,
Okay, you got to come up to the
Okay, I'm
podium.
sorry.
You
I'm
have to
sorry.
address the board.
excuse me, I'm sorry. The smells that we're talking about basically is coming from trucks. Your buildings weren't the building we were talking about. I just have one other question. With the existing lights, now, the lights that are coming into my house, particularly that one high stadium light, it is a stadium light in the back, that's not going to be changed? That's going to stay as is?
That's
You were
the
talking
question.
about new lighting?
All right, hold on. You got to talk to us. We'll ask it.
sorry.
We'll ask it so it's
Okay.
part of the record. Any other questions? Or is that
And
it?
my last one was just answered with the trees. I didn't know if they were going to be inside or outside on Copeg Road. Thank you.
Okay. Council, can you take a look at that spotlight that is
Yeah, we'll let Alex.
spilling over into the neighbor's kitchen?
So the lighting that is on you can think of the property as divided in half. The eastern half is being worked on and being redeveloped. The lights in that area will be demoed and new lighting, as Mr. Esposito illuminated as being dark size compliant and code compliant. That eastern side of the property also is adjacent to and facing the Copeg Road neighborhoods. So to that end, I would say that the lighting she's referring to will be changed.
Thank you. And it is part of the plan, as Matt
Correct.
just highlighted for us. Okay, if there are no other questions, Matt, where do we stand with this application? Sorry, Council? Thank you, Council. Thank you for pointing out, because I was looking for it as the questions. Pardon me? Item 2, in the Planning Commissioner's memo, there's under the heading of covenants and restrictions, all site lighting must be contained on-site and must conform to dark sky lighting regulations. So it's not only on the plan, but it is a covenant and a restriction that the applicant has agreed to. And if for some reason that doesn't turn out to be the case, then the town will send inspectors out to enforce that covenant. Okay. So Matt, where are we? To April 24th. Okay, so we need a motion to extend the record. Motion by Jerry.
Motion to extend.
Second by Ed. All in favor? Aye. The record is extended. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming down. Thanks very much. Nice to see you. Good seeing you. Okay. This is the end of our only public hearing. We're now going to go into our work session, which is not broadcast or